get your FTM merch, pin chat. But welcome. How's everybody doing? I actually almost just dropped my tea right there for like what? That would have been like the 4th time live on stream. Hopefully I don't drop it. But how's everybody doing? I been looking around on Twitter, Discord, even looking at Reddit a little bit. The vibes are really low across the board today. I mean, it was, for the most part, a red day for a lot of different stocks or the market, even for some cryptos. But I don't know if it's just me. I'm still kind of in a pretty good mood this week when it comes to the market. It's yesterday was a great day for me personally. Today wasn't the best for sure. But you're gonna have ups and downs. Just want to start the stream off with that. I hope everybody's doing well. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna be starting off with Bitcoin and crypto. After that, we'll look at the overall stock market. Then we'll talk about Clover. We have a lot to talk about on Clover, obviously. We'll even talk about SPRT. It was up 20% today. Did I not bring up SPRT like every night on stream last week, right? So we were talking about that one. Finally got a nice bounce. Then we'll recap the ongoing trades, and then if we have time, we'll do tick requests. It depends on how much time I take to look at CLOV, honestly. But let's start off with Bitcoin. Really 50-50 in the short term. It was a really nice run. You had a little bit of that dip. I actually don't even remember what the reason was. I know Mehdi was going over it last night on stream. I've just been so busy with a lot of different things. But yeah, you got the big dip on Bitcoin, a bunch of different cryptos. It's just kind of right at the 200-day moving average right now. So I really don't know. I don't see much of a pattern or anything to really talk about on the daily for Bitcoin. I think it just needs more time to kind of create more data before there's much for me to talk about. For the Litecoin trade, surprisingly, it got I think it was $1 or something away from the stop loss at the low yesterday. It came down to 161 and the stop loss was 160, so it was like $1 away, but ended up bouncing. Now it's pretty much back at the entry. It's not even down 1% currently, so definitely did take some technical damage. This trade was so close to the first target. It was only trade was up I think 20% or something. It was only another 5% from the first target, and then Bitcoin decided to pull back, right? But we'll see. I just think for cryptos right now, a lot of them had a really good rally, really ever since the end of July. And after this pullback, I just think from a technical standpoint, there needs to be some more data to appear before I get more of a bullish or a bearish stance in the short term. That's really all I'm looking at. But thankfully, a lot of the crypto trades did hit their targets prior to yesterday. And also, thankfully, Litecoin was already pretty high up, so you could have even just broke even on it, whatever. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying the crypto trades still didn't take too much of an effect because most of them already kind of played out. But the market futures are down right now. S&P futures and NASDAQ futures are both down about 1/5%. That is about 10 minutes delayed, I believe, on TradingView. And then Russell futures are down almost 0.5%. So futures are not doing too well right now overnight. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Please fact check this. I literally just saw this on Twitter. I don't even remember who I saw tweet it, but I think somebody said that this is one of the worst weeks of the year historically, and just September in general. That's very typically not the best. But again, just fact check all that. I'm just listening to what other people have said. I actually haven't looked at it myself. But yeah, looking at the market, it was red today. The S&P was relatively flat, but the NASDAQ was down more than 0.5%. The ARK ETF was down 3%. The Russell 2000 was down 1%. Dow Jones was down 0.5%. So pretty much red across the board. This was probably the worst day for the swings in a few weeks now, in terms of how much they pulled back. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting. The last couple of weeks have just been very, I'd say, fun. And it's just, I swear, every time we have a really good, nice streak and things are just fun, then we have one day like this when people forget very quickly what the market was literally yesterday. Toxicity on social media, today, the last few weeks was probably the most amount of support I've ever gotten, and then today there was really not that much, but just random people who I've never seen before, just kind of coming out of the shadows and just saying stupid things, honestly. But again, I'm still really kind of vibing this week. Today wasn't great, but you're not going to have every day being amazing. For the technicals on the market, the S&P did have a nice bounce off the lows. If you're in the Discord, I did share this right over here during the market hours. There's a little bit of a 15-minute double bottom pattern for like all the major indices. I shared it like right around over here, and you did get a nice bounce after that in the afternoon, but then a little bit of a pullback. I think in the ARK, yeah, the ARK did pull back into the close. So small caps, mid caps did underperform. Typically the ARK and the Russell are more volatile in general, so they'll overperform in green days and underperform. And that's obviously not always. I'm just saying in general, they typically, from what I've seen, at least in the past few months, they move more either up or down than the S&P and the NASDAQ. But yeah, looking at it, not the best. I don't really see any bearish divergence. You're still very, very far away from making lower highs. So the trend is still your friend, but yeah, I mean, you kind of are rolling over a little bit on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. You had your lowest close in like about a week or so, kind of looks like. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Futures are also not the best for right now, but just still open-minded. You have so much going on economically that technicals are always important, and I'll predicted. We've predicted a lot of ups and downs for the overall market just using technicals on these indices this year. If you've been around, you know that. But you know, especially with everything going on, I'm just kind of taking it day by day. But for the ARK ETF, it broke under the 200-day moving average today, but it did back test the triangle that it broke out of like a week ago. But again, we just had a very good rally. You know, it was right over here when I was saying I'm pretty bullish on small caps and mid caps, right? When we bounced off the same exact levels in 2 consecutive months. And we just had a really good rally. So we're pulling back a little bit after going up like 8% in like 10 days on the Russell 2000. I don't think anybody can complain. It's just about keeping your gains when you make them. That's really how I look at it. Apart from that, the VIX shot up a little bit today, went right up to this 19.6 level I have charted, pulled back off of that. The dollar bounced up a little bit today, not too much. That's standing out to me on different things here. Even the US 10-year just kind of actually looks all right. I don't know. You could look at this like maybe like an ascending triangle if you just chart something like this, but it's not the strongest. That could also be a bear flag if you chart your upper trend line like as upsloping. So I don't know. It's not super clear. It really isn't. That's really all I have for the market. I mean, honestly. Give me a second here. Let me see what's up in the chat. Okay. All right, let's get some more likes. All right, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Didn't already. And let's see. Thanks for the like, Eric. What else? Really not much in the chat either. I don't know. It's just, I guess it's a slow day. The Discord was kind of dry. Social media was kind of weird today. Just, I don't know. Maybe everybody's just kind of waiting for tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just trying to see what the vibes are like in the chat. JG says, future rollover, I kind of get the concept, but how big are we talking about? I don't even fully get the concept of the future rollover, but I think tomorrow is the roll date, and then what the expiration date will be next Friday for monthly expirations, if I'm not mistaken. So I know a lot of other people talking about that. You know, I just don't know enough about it for me to really talk about it. But we will see if that kind of affects things tomorrow and the next Friday. What else? JJ with the $10 tip. I hope that audio isn't too loud. JJ says, thanks for sharing your knowledge with the 10. Thank you, JJ. Really appreciate the tip. Let's get some vibes in the chat for JJ. First tip of the night, dropping some coins into the jar. And thank you for everybody who just dropped likes as well. Let me make that name a little bit bigger. There we go. So vibes in the chat. Got to keep the vibes alive. JJ saving the vibes tonight. And then the guy says asking for likes on that when the IWM is down 1%. Bold man. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, last week was amazing. The week before that was amazing. It's really like we've kind of been on like a 3-week just really good streak, and then we had one red day, and I just feel like everybody kind of forgets like everything, you know. And it's easy to do that, but I've just been through this so many times, like this year alone, especially looking at it not only from like because I trade as well, but also from like a streamer's standpoint. It's just interesting to me to see how quickly vibes can change for the market, right? But I still think there's a lot to be glad about this week, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. All right. So thank you for dropping those vibes in the chat. Thank you again, JJ, for the tip. Hopefully you all enjoyed Mehdi's stream last night. I know there were some technical difficulties, but it was his first time streaming. I mean, you should go look at the first stream on this channel. I didn't even have a camera on. The mic was horrible. I was like talking to myself. So it's always like that. But I think it was a great stream. Almost got like 1,000 views as well. So that's awesome. So yeah, we could talk about Clover. I think we could do that. And there's a lot to talk about, as per usual, it feels like lately. First off, I'm really happy. I know a lot of people are complaining about today, you know, it's down 13%. I'm happy because, for one, Clover is up still 7% on the weekend. I don't even know if that includes the gap down, but let's see. Yeah, it does say about 8%. So yeah, I mean, yesterday Clover was up 22%. Today it was down 13%. Obviously, being down 13% is never fun, but still up for the weekend. We've only had 2 days this week so far. There's a lot of technical things I want to talk about. I also kind of recharted a few levels today. I added this 1115 level onto my chart, which was our high from yesterday. I actually noticed that was a previous high from, let's see, July 6th, and it was a low from June 21st. So that 1115 I added onto my chart. And I think that was really about it. Oh yeah, 1180 as well. It's a few historical highs. So I did add a couple new levels onto my chart, just kind of zooming out again today. Still that 1320 level is the most important that I see. But that's really what I'm looking at right now. I don't want to talk about rumors, Tim, in the chat. I hope it does, but again, you know, I'm not really here to talk about rumors. The guy says those surprise guests were great, yeah, or fire. I don't know if there's anything else in chat, but Clover, where should we even start? I think we just do the technical rundown first, and then we can talk about the borrow fees and the options chain and whatnot. And then tomorrow there's also the is it Wells Fargo? Is that the forum that is tomorrow? I think it's in Power Hour when they're going to be presenting or whatever that's going to be. So, you know, you got futures roll tomorrow, and then also that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Go look it up yourself. I'm not a great news source. But let's talk about the technicals. There's one kind of only, really only one bearish technical that kind of got painted on the chart today, which was just the actual daily candle. Now, it's interesting because the context of this candle, we're going to get to it, but if you just kind of look at this, it's pretty much a bearish Harami candle. So that's not good. You know, that alone, it's a high time frame. You have a large red inside day candle after a large green candle, kind of like the opposite of a bullish engulfing. You would just flip these two and then you get a bullish engulfing. But yeah, that's really what you had today. Pretty much Clover, I think, gapped down a couple percent, and then it just rejected the 200-day moving average, which it actually broke over yesterday, and then it just kind of plummeted down to, I think, like 920, which is a very, very important level we're going to be talking about shortly. And then it bounced like 20 cents off of that. I mean, it bounced a little bit higher, but then it pulled back, and had a very, very tight range for, like, I think, like the last 3 or 4 hours of the day. It really didn't move much at all. So that's really it for the daily chart. You still technically have hidden bullish divergence continuing to play out, and this cannot turn into, even if the MACD does cross over the red, this cannot turn into bearish divergence, unless somehow this MACD island makes you know, a lower high than this one, and then wait, that would still be bearish convergence. So for right now, the MACD is fine, so not much to worry about there on the daily for Clover. MACD 4 hours, kind of the same thing. No bearish divergence as well, just kind of higher high on price, higher high on the MACD and the RSI. So really no help from the oscillators on the daily or the 4 hour. Not really a bullish or a bearish bias on those. On lower time frames, there is divergence on the 15-minute chart. You already have hidden bullish divergence confirmed, and then on the 30-minute you have hidden bullish divergence developing, and then on the 1 hour it's not developing yet, but there's a potential for hidden bullish divergence on the 1 hour chart as well. Right over here. But again, the MACD needs to start waning before I really chart that. So let's move into the Wyckoff talk now, okay? And this is what I'm most excited to really talk about today, because, wow, you know, I wasn't live last night. I would have loved to have been live last night. Clover was up 22%. I'm sure everybody would have been going crazy in the chat. I just couldn't be live last night. So guess we'll have to wait until the next time Clover's up 22% and hope I can be live that night and it's not a Tuesday. But it's actually really funny. Clover loves Tuesdays. The all-time high day I think was a Tuesday if I'm not mistaken. That was June 8th. It actually was a Wednesday. But the day before it was up like 30%. Let me just verify that. June 8th was the Tuesday, and then oh wait, no, yeah, I'm correct. Am I? This is so confusing. Yep. All right, so all-time highs was a Tuesday actually, so I was originally correct. So yet another Tuesday was up 20%. Obviously, it was up a lot more on the all-time high day. And then the 1 hour chart, the Wyckoff accumulation. Where are we now? And what's going on over here? Okay, what's going on? Matt G says technically it isn't a harami since the candle body is more than 25% of the previous opposite candle. That is also correct. I know people that use it both ways. Some people just use an inside red day candle, you know, after a large green candle as a bearish harami. Typically you do want them to be smaller bodied or just in general have a smaller spread. So I'm not going to say you're wrong there. It just comes down to like how you look at it. I'm sure you could look at I think his first name is Steve, but his last name is definitely Nison, Steve Neeson. I can't remember if Steve is his first name though, who has the book on Japanese candlesticks. If you want to follow that, you can follow that. Just going off what a lot of other people kind of view it as. Tar Heels in the chat, what's up? Says Wells Fargo tomorrow at 3:20 up in the final hour of the day. We'll see what that has to offer. And yeah, the Wyckoff. I mean, I'm doing my best. Maybe I'm more happy about this than anybody else, but literally since down over here, I've done my best, and I think so far every single step of the way has been perfect. And I wasn't able to update last night because I wasn't streaming, but the update literally would have just been, so either this is the breakout and we just keep going, or we're gonna have a backup and we got the backup. So that's pretty much what my update last night would have been. And then in hindsight, yeah, we did get a backup, and I'm gonna explain that a little bit more, but we talked about this spring over here and we sprung. We went back up to the top of the range, then we had an LPS. The LPS was perfect. What do you want in an LPS? You want to pull back on low volume with a tight spread, which means low volatility. We got that. Then over the weekend, a lot of chatter took place on Reddit. We talk about this every single week. How many, I think I said this on Monday night stream, how many times do technicals just start looking good and then boom, a couple weeks later, it's all over Reddit? I mean, it happened when we talked about GameStop at 11 bucks. I didn't talk about AMC the first time it went to 20, but we talked about AMC when it went from 20 back down to 5 before it went back up to 70. We talked about it at 5. It's just crazy to see. I'm not saying that the technicals call everything because that's not true, but it's just a cool, let's at least call it a coincidence that pretty much not all of them, but a lot of them have also looked really important technically. Even SPRT, which we're going to be talking about after Clover, we were talking about that down to like $7, and I don't know, it went to like 60 or something. I can't even remember. Just really cool to see. But the Wyckoff, we got the LPS, and then we had the breakout of the range yesterday. I think that was pretty obvious. Now, a breakout of a range on Wyckoff is not technically everything. Now, what I mean by that, you could technically break out of the Wyckoff range and not be in phase E yet, and I'm going to kind of show you that in a second here. If we go over to this chart. All right. Let's scroll down to first accumulation schematic. So you can see over here, like this is kind of your range. Just breaking out of it, sometimes you could still be within phase D. Now you could see once you break out of it, you get something known as a backup. And this is probably what would have been my main point if I were streaming last night. You know, either it was like a true breakout right into phase D or a backup. Obviously, I would have had no way to know last night. You know, I was very open-minded coming into today. But you know, after all the other things we talked about, the backup. What is the backup? Let me just look for the final part of it. All right, a backup is a common. Actually, let me go a little bit higher. So basically, a backup represents short-term profit taking and additional supply tests. A backup is a common structural element preceding a more substantial price markup. That's really what your backup is. It's pretty much the same thing as a back test, except a lot of the times you can see backups be a lot more significant than just a common back test, right? A lot of times you can have what's known as a back test where, you know, let's say you have a resistance, the price breaks above it, and then right when you break above it, you back test it, and then you go crazy. But on a back up, you could actually have a really, really big move and then have a large backup, and then you run even higher. And this happens a lot in crypto. I mean, if you watch Mitch Ray's streams, he's brought this up with many altcoins, because a lot of them do make crazy moves, but also have crazy retraces. So you could have a whole entire crazy move play out and then still have a backup and then go again, right? That's really the point of a backup. It's really just flipping what was once your, area of supply within your accumulation range into a new area for accumulation, kind of like reaccumulation. But again, that happens at the top of the range. On Monday night stream, on pretty much most of the streams from the past week or so, I've been talking about 920 as the top of the range. That was pretty much what I was viewing as the top of the range. This level was already charted here on the 1 hour chart. And I was surprised that yesterday Clover was at 11 and it came all the way back down to 920 today. That did surprise me, but it did not surprise me when I saw that it bounced off of 920, because that was your previous resistance. As you can see, kind of over here was really like 910 over here, but it was definitely your resistance on August 12th and on August 10th. And then these times you kind of up thrusted over that, another Wyckoff term, I believe, which is like a fake out to the upside, which is another thing you kind of look for sometimes in Wyckoff accumulation. But yeah, we could still be in phase Z when it comes to the Wyckoff accumulation. I've said this many times, and I'll continue to say it because a lot of people, for whatever reason, I personally do share the Wyckoff stuff on my Twitter and sometimes on Reddit as well, but a lot of other people share my stuff and without explanation, and then people kind of don't understand anything. And I say this time and time again, it's not about following these lines perfectly, it's about looking for all the things you want to look for, these types of things. That's what you're mainly looking at, and of course it does help when the price action obviously follows this pretty well. Now on top of that, looking at the backup and where we are right now for Clover, that's 920. Going into tomorrow, you don't necessarily have to hold above 920 the whole day. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna gap up or gap down or just open flat, but it could dip below 920 tomorrow. It could go down to, maybe fill the gap from yesterday morning. Who knows? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I'm bringing up different potential scenarios. Even if it does, really all you want to do is kind of use that as support for most of the day tomorrow and on Friday. If you break under it, you just want to reclaim it. It's not something that's like super specific, like, oh my gosh, the second you break it, everything's over. Like, it can run under it, can come back over it. You just want to kind of, in general, use that as a new area for demand rather than supply like we've seen in the past. Now, on top of that, in terms of the Wyckoff, from my understanding, I think we are towards the end of it, right? Because all of this was pretty much perfect, right? Especially the second half. The first half was a little bit kind of weird, but from pretty much up over here, all of this has been perfect. I've been talking about this for weeks now. So I think we're close to the end. If for whatever reason I'm wrong, and again, it's not about validation for me. Let's just say I am wrong, because I'm as open-minded as I can possibly be. This is another point I brought up. Even if this somehow comes all the way back down to over here, the Wyckoff is not technically invalidated until it breaks under the spring. So what could happen is you could just extend out your phases. It could be a different type of time frame you could look at. The only thing that kind of would mess it up a little bit is the 20% move it had yesterday. Typically, you're not going to have that much of an up thrust and then fall back into your range. So that's the whole Wyckoff update. I hope it pops up on the stream, but Florida Nick just sent a $5 super chat. There we go. Proving the vibes. Florida Nick, thank you for the tip. Got the coins dropping into the jar. Let's get some vibes in the chat for Florida Nick, a new premium member. Appreciate all the support and the tips. And that's really your Wyckoff update. It's playing out still perfectly, right? It's really amazing to me. I don't know if anybody cares as much as I do, but I've tried my best. Like I've said, I've tried my best since literally 750-ish to share this step by step. And so far as I know, every single step of the way has been as good as, or as close to textbook Wyckoff as you could want it. That's really how I'm looking at everything in terms of the Wyckoff. Apart from that, there's not much of a change. We already had the cup and handle. That thing got broken out of. We even had the inverse head and shoulders. I mean, look how perfect this was. It was not a perfect inverse head and shoulders, but the way that it played out was perfect. I didn't just chart this today. I charted this last week. I shared this to all of you last week when Clover was in the $8 range, mid $8 range. This scuffed inverse head and shoulders, and it spent 2 days back testing it. If you're in the Discord, I also shared that it was back testing it last Friday. On Friday, I said Clover is back testing the breakout of this inverse head and shoulders. And then what happens once you get a break, a hook, sometimes you get a go. That's known as a break, hook, and go. Basically a breakout, a back test, and then a large movement upwards. So that also played out perfectly. I mean, I'm doing my best. I don't know how many different patterns can play out perfectly. And again, these are much smaller patterns, so it's not like this is sending Clover to the moon, but it at least is explaining what's happening in the short term, and that's kind of been my goal. But of course, especially with the Wyckoff and how the daily chart looks, there could be a much larger move in play here potentially. I don't know the future. None of this is financial advice. But that's really, the technical update for today. Going into tomorrow, I would like to see it hold above 920 for the majority of the day. However, I don't know if that's going to happen. If it does have a really good day tomorrow, you got your 200-day moving average. That was pretty much your high of the day from like 1030 to 1040-ish. Then you got 1115. Then you got 1180. Then you got 13. So you do have a few resistances stacked up until 13. I think over 13 is when craziness could potentially occur, but also it depends on what the oscillators look like then. Maybe the RSI is already at like 90 by the time it's up there if it's like really insane of a move. So you never know. I don't really want to talk about that until we get there, but if we get there and when, because I do personally think Clover will get to 13, whether it's tomorrow or in a year. I just want to be very careful with my wording, obviously. But again, these are all just my opinions. So yeah, simplest way to summarize all this: potential back test of a breakout. It was a breakout of the Wyckoff range we've been talking about since down over here. You bounced off of your previous resistance from the Wyckoff range, and you did not give up yesterday's low. So that's another good thing. Okay. I definitely think the Reddit stuff was interesting. You saw a large uptick on Reddit over the weekend, and then pretty much like 12 hours before the market opened for the week is when they started really taking down posts, from what I believe. And then you saw a really good day yesterday, and then today I do believe that the Clover chatter was down a little bit on Wall Street Bets, even though it's still quite up there amongst the other tickers. It just wasn't as much as it was, I think, on like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And that's really the technical update. Don't want to kind of make that too long. A couple other things a lot of other people are talking about right now, all over Twitter and Discord and Reddit and whatnot. The fees right now on borrowing. This is from iBorrowDesk. I really don't look at these things too much. For me, the price just summarizes everything. Nerve, third tip of the night, $14 tip, says, nice to see FTM continue to grow. Thanks for your leadership. Yeah, we're sitting at over 100 viewers right now, which is amazing. So thank you everybody watching the stream. And Nerve has been here for forever. So thank you for always supporting the stream, Nerve. Let's get some vibes in the chat for your day one. Tip in the stream, supporting what I'm doing so I can support all of you. And thank you very much for the 14 and the kind words as well. Let's get some vibes in the chat for Nerve. Yeah, really appreciate all the tips, all the viewers. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join the Discord, the link's in the description. And yeah, so we can see over here on iBorrowDesk, it went from, I think, a 1% fee to 100%. Now, I think this is, it's obviously reported on iBorrowDesk, but I don't actually have the Fintel data, but I believe it's also reporting the same thing there, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I could actually just pull it up. Well, it says 700, yeah, it's the same thing. So you see that on Fintel as well, 107%. So that's interesting. I know Tarhi was talking about it, saying it, and I'm not trying to quote him directly. I might interpret what he was saying wrong. So if I'm wrong, please somebody correct me. But it could be just dependent on the actual brokerage that the data is kind of getting its feed off of. But also, I looked on the Clover Reddit, and again, I'm bringing other people up as sources. If I misinterpret what they're saying, please excuse me. And also, please remember, I might not be saying facts right now. I'm just trying to understand to the best of my ability, okay? I'm not a news source. I'm just trying to share what I think is my understanding of certain things. Also, on top of that, I looked around on the Clover Reddit, and somebody actually, I think, messaged Interactive Broker and was like, how does this work? And they pretty much confirmed everything. I don't think the person actually asked about Clover, but they were just asking about in general, if the fee could jump at any, point at will. So, this is interesting. If we look at the chart right here, you could see, right around the previous all-time highs, the fee was at a very similar, price. I mean, not price, but percent. 117%. Right now it's at 107. So that's also interesting. But also, even on July 1st it was, and July 1st was like a red day for Clover. I think it was at like 7% or something, because I was looking at this earlier. Yeah, Clover was, oh no, it's only down 3% on July 7th. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Just want to bring that up because a lot of other people were. And then the options as well. So there's a few things, I mean, really just one thing I really want to, let me see if there's anything else that changed here. Looks like call option activity was a little bit lower today. Yeah, not too much of any difference there. So really the only thing I want to kind of bring up here is the open interest by strikes. We do this pretty much almost every night. And I was looking at this earlier before I went live. And again, you know, we've already talked about, you know, the potential for a gamma squeeze and whatnot earlier. And again, like I've said, you can talk about as many squeezes as you want. Just because a stock has a loaded options chain or if a stock has a super high short interest does not mean it's going to squeeze for sure. You need price action to come in first. So when it comes to a squeeze, volume and price movement upwards is always the first variable, okay? That's the independent variable. And again, I'm not great at math, but I think that's how an independent variable works. You need that to come in first. The squeeze in the options chain and the short interest does not matter if the buyers are not stepping up to the plate first, okay? But let's say something like yesterday happened. Again, you know, you have another great day. You do have a loaded options chain. You do, okay? And it's growing. Not all of the strikes are growing, but some of them are growing. And I looked at one of my streams from a couple weeks ago, and I just kind of looked at what it looked like back then and what it's looked like right now. And from what I understand, if I was looking at that correctly, the $9 strike has increased when it comes to open interest. The $10 strike increased by I think about 20,000 in open interest this week, compared to a couple weeks ago. The $11 strike was also a large jump. The $11 strike was really not much a couple weeks ago, and I think just recently it might have jumped up. The 12 is about the same, and the 15 is about the same from what I was looking at. And then the one other one that's pretty interesting is the 17. 17 is not a crazy open interest, but it was a lot. It was pretty much like all these kind of other ones, like much lower. And the 17 also jumped up. So a few strikes have been seeing an increase in open interest as well. You know, just a lot of options activity, especially could just be because of how crazy yesterday was. Obviously, that brings a lot of new attention into stocks, as it'll probably show up as trending on Wall Street Bets and Yahoo Finance and StockTwits and whatnot. So that's really the options update as well. To kind of summarize, you know, I think Clover is currently, from a technical standpoint, at a point where a lot of the hard work was already done between that $7.50 to $9 range, you know, in the last almost 2 months. Yesterday was a major sign of strength, and today is a potential backup. Those are two final forms that you look for in Wyckoff accumulation. The only question at hand is, will everything that has so far gone perfectly continue to do so? Because we're kind of getting to the point where everything's already there. Everything you could pretty much want from the Wyckoff accumulation, from the technicals, are kind of already there. You know, you have that futures roll stuff, you have the presentation tomorrow, but again, I always say this, and I have to say this time and time again, it does not matter how many variables you have. At the end of the day, this is always just probability. There's always a % chance. So, you know, as much as everything is kind of there, like, there's no certainty in my opinion. I have, you know, a good amount of conviction, but I'm just never going to be a person to say 100% something's going to happen. But I will say, however, that from what I can understand, it's kind of like, I don't know what else. I mean, of course, divergence on the daily and FAR would be great, but that's not really in the picture for the short term, just because you're already on green MACD islands and you already had the divergence that we talked about over here. So that's really how I'm looking at the technicals. You know, not telling you what to do, just want to give an update on everything. Let me see what's up in the chat. Keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button. Thank you for everybody. If you're new to the stream, stick around, see if you learned something in the next couple of weeks. Just literally watch the stream for 1 week. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't think one stream is enough though. Like, watch 3 or 4 streams, kind of get how the vibe is, and then after that, decide whether you want to unsub. But probably subscribe first, okay? So yeah, I really appreciate all the support right now. Thank you again for the tips earlier. But I don't know. I maybe it was just me. Maybe I should have been live yesterday and the chat would have been completely different, and Discord and whatnot, because Clover was up 20%. But I'm still very happy with how this week's going so far. So let me see what's up in the chat. Oh, JJ was asking for VIH. All right, yeah. If you're what was I gonna say? requesting a ticker with the tip, try and put it in the message. I know if you super chat, you won't really be able to do that, and sometimes I just get lost talking about whatever I will talk about, so I will look at that next. Hopefully you're still here, JJ. Thank you again for the tip. JG says, how did you spot bottom before spring champ? That's the thing. Even back then I was saying, you know, I don't have certainty. All I was doing was bringing up potential variables. That's why I'm not going around all over social media and saying I called the bottom at 740. I shared a potential variable of, you know, a reversal. That's all I did. I'm not here to try and impress random people on the internet. I'm just here to share what I think I know, and it happened to work out. Maybe in another multiverse or dimension it didn't. So I'm happy it did work out. I wouldn't call it luck. I would just call it preparation meeting opportunity. I was prepared to know how springs work. X-ray goggles buying the FTM cup and handle. It's not exactly like this one. It's actually cooler than this one because it changes colors. I think it's the mug is black when it's cold and it might turn white when it's warm. It's might be inverted, but X-ray goggles, one of the most active Discord members, with a FTM cup and handle purchase, says, I've learned so much from you and the FTM community this year. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much for the X-ray goggles. Let's get some vibes in the chat. Just as I closed my eyes, I heard the tip sound. Penguin Lemonade with the 777 saying thanks for you. Thank you all so much for the support. Seriously. It's really, really humbling. X-ray goggles, Penguin Lemonade, vibes in the chat for both of them. Penguin Lemonade says, thanks for everything you do. Thank you. Thank you very much for the tip. Thank you for all the tips and the merch purchase as well tonight. Really appreciate everything. Let me see a bunch of vibes in the chat. And also, I'm trying to get a hold of my energy with college starting, and also there's a couple other things that I've just been kind of trying to figure out apart from streaming in college. Like, I've not been getting a lot of sleep. I mean, I've been sleeping like 6 or 7 hours a night, but like, it's just, but the whole entire day I'm pretty much working. So I'm sorry if my energy's a little bit off. You know, it's just gonna take me a couple weeks to kind of get back into my flow. But thank you so much for all the tips, seriously. JJ, we're gonna take a look at VAH. Let me just read the chat and then we will. JJ's still in the chat, so great. All right, we're gonna take a look at that. Need a vibe sweatshirt, definitely. I need to revamp the merch for sure. It hasn't been updated since like February, so definitely that's on the to-do list. There's a lot of things on the to-do list though. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna look at VIH for JJ first because he tipped earlier, and then we're gonna look at the chat. All right, I want to be careful with this one. I don't know anything about VIH. All I'm gonna say is, actually, all right, let me just not. All right, I'm just gonna look at the chart. I don't want to say anything apart from that. Just forget all the facial expressions I just made. VIH, I believe it's a SPAC. When you have a SPAC that's yet to merge, a lot of the times, I know we did a great job with Fisker before it merged, and then also we did a great job with XL before it merged. It was PIC. Believe it or not, I know XL has had a horrible downtrend since its merger, but it had a really, really good uptrend while it was a SPAC. But VIH is, I believe, in the same boat. There's no pattern you can really get here after, you know, what just happened in the past few days with VIH. Obviously that's support around, you know, $9.90, $10 with the redemption share, you know, whatever the NAV price. So you have that. Maybe a little bit of resistance at 1140 from this candle low, from this candle open, and from, if you really look inside, from this candle high on the third on the 4-hour chart. If we kind of go above that, then 1335 will be next, from this candle low, and then from this candle high. Then above that, around 1575, another candle high over here and over here. So really all I can help you out with here is kind of like the levels on the chart. You know, there's not really much of a pattern, not much divergence, and had a nice move in the past few days. I'll let you interpret that how you want to interpret it. I have my own interpretation of it, but I'm not going to really talk about it on the stream. And yeah, that's VIH. I don't know anything about the company, but it's obviously been talked about. That's all I'm gonna say. It's been talked about. I've heard about it. I know, you know, that a lot of other people are looking at it. I'm personally, again, this could be an amazing, I literally have no clue what this company is. It could be a really good fundamental company. I have no clue. It could be a horrible one. I don't know. I just don't know anything about it fundamentally. That's really all I can do on the chart. So sorry for being kind of vague there. It's just you know, not the easiest thing to kind of chart when it's a SPAC before the merger. But definitely fundamental analysis is probably a lot more important, you know, prior to the merger. Jeff says, first time CLOV was at 100% bar fee, ran up to 28 immediately. The only thing I have as a question to that, and I actually don't know either, is there a chance that the cost to borrow fee or whatever could be, you know, like, I'm not going to say a lagging indicator, but could be a result of what happened yesterday, right? Because, you know, even looking back at the June all-time high, could the cost to borrow have gone insane because of the price action as well? You know, maybe they kind of work together, maybe one comes before the other. That's my only question, right? Because it's just, either it's a really, really cool coincidence, or not even a coincidence, but it's a cool sign that the cost to borrow goes up right before crazy moves. But the cost to borrow was low before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or it was around 1%. I don't know if that's low or not. You know, and then today, after Clover went up 22% yesterday, the cost to borrow, you know, went up like crazy. So I don't know exactly what the order looks like on how that works. I'm not too educated on all that, but yeah. Florida Nick says, all my stonks belly up, but I'm vibing for tomorrow. Is a make or break for me. I may never financially recover. Florida Nick, all right. I can't tell you what to do. I know you're a premium member. I can't tell you to trade like how I trade, but if you're looking at my system, which is again derived by a lot of people like Mitch Ray, it's really, you never put yourself in a position where you can never financially recover. This is not financial advice, but I think 99% of people might agree on the fact that you should not risk literally everything. And you just put in the chat as a joke. LOL. Okay. I know you've been kind of being a little bit sarcastic. I might need to start kind of recognizing that. What else is in the chat? Gunslinger says, is it possible that the 22% was phase E and it falls back into the beginning of another cycle? If you want to look at it like that, I'm never going to tell you all to look at things in only one way. There's multiple ways to view patterns on charts. You can have your own interpretation. Personally, I think even if it does fall back into the range and breaks under 9, I think it could just be the same exact range but continued, and then basically, you know, yesterday could have just been up thrust, even though that is too much of an up thrust in my opinion, so it kind of messes things up. You know, for me, I'm just going to reassess. You know, if somehow, you know, it just plummets back down to 8, I'll just reassess what it looks like, you know. Oh, what else is in the chat? Florida Nick says, how many times have you seen a stock shoot up bar fee like that? I really don't look at bar fees too much, so I can't really answer that. Robin, I did see that the short squeeze score in Fintel did go up. We'll see. I don't look at all that stuff too much. You know, I don't really look at the dark pool data, the live short interest, you know, the Fintel, the Ortex, the iBar desk data too much. I just feel like the price summarizes everything for me. And again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at it. If that helps you, that helps you. It just, for me, I don't look at it daily. Maybe once a month I'll see it, you know, how it kind of compares to the previous month. But for me, I think the price action, you know, summarizes the shorting, the dark pool, the cost to borrow, the live short interest, like all those different things. And I know, you know, there's always the potential for things not being completely transparent, but for me, it's just like, that's out of my control. That's just how I look at it. And again, I'm not trying to say other people bringing up those points are wrong, or they shouldn't be doing so. I'm, like I always say, however you make money in this market, I want you to do that. It's just not my type of thing, you know. So I don't really speak on it too much. But Tar Heel says, if one brokerage is out of shares, their fee would jump. That would change the max CTB. Just keep in mind the word "there" was in asterisks. All right. So I keep thinking I'm like way down in the chat, but I'm not really. What else? Oh, there was even news this morning for Clover, I believe, on some sort of a partnership with the Clover assistant that didn't do anything. I mean, also, like, the amount of times I've seen good PR drop in the morning in the last 2 months for Clover, and it was a red day, is just weird to me. JG says the Bollinger Bands, yep. Bollinger Bands, they did actually widen apart a little bit today, and that's actually interesting, right? So we were talking about the Bollinger Bands. A premium member brought this up to me during a workshop, and said, you know, Clover Bollinger Bands are super, super tight. And then I also kind of took notice that, I think they might have also brought this up, but like the last, you know, it was at the bottom Bollinger Band, and the last like 3 times before that, it was at the bottom Bollinger Band. Over here and over here and over here was a local bottom. So, you know, I had it stream titled why CLOV might bottom this week, like 2 weeks ago, and in hindsight, quite literally did. And, you know, on top of just how it was at the bottom Bollinger Band on the daily, the Bollinger Bands were squeezed very tightly together, which could imply a large move of volatility for the short term, which we talked about back then. And what did we get yesterday? A large move of volatility. Well, at least compared to the range of spin it. So again, another instance of wow, 2 weeks before Reddit is all over a certain taker, we're talking about technicals, right? I'm not saying technicals called everything. I'm just saying it's a cool coincidence that we've seen probably 6 or 7 times in the past year. But yeah, they are starting to, if you really look closely, they are starting to actually kind of widen apart. You can see this lower one's kind of getting even lower. The upper one, I know the candles are kind of blocking it, but that one's also going higher. Same thing happened. It was much wider before the move to all-time high, but they also did start spreading apart after being relatively tighter together. Oh yeah, the SSR as well, short sale restriction, closed down over 10%. Again, a lot of these things I'm talking about and reading from the chat, I'm just listening to what other people are saying. I believe that's how the SSR works if it closes down more than 10%. But again, please always fact check everything I say. I always want to make sure you all are keeping me, you know, in check when I'm bringing up different points that I'm not super educated on. I have a good idea of what SSRs are, but just always want to make sure I'm not, you know, sharing info that's incorrect. Rooster said, hey, I came for the Medi gap. Rooster's in the chat as well. How you doing, Rooster? Where'd he go? Yeah, Medi will be back on next Tuesday. Jeff says, bro, I don't know how you did this and premium at the end of spring. Don't burn yourself out with school firing up. Yeah, I just get it done. You know, it's not easy. I'm never gonna say it's easy, but it's always worth it. That's how I look at it. JJ says facial expressions make me nervous. Hello, thanks for looking at it. Yeah, you're talking about VIH. I don't really want to talk about my thoughts on it on stream, but I just think it's right now social media things, you know, are occurring. Maybe they could turn to something larger than that, but for right now, that's all I'm gonna say. And again, if you're in it, I hope you make money. I just want everybody to be careful, right? And I'm not telling you to get out of it, to get in it. I'm just watching from the sidelines. You do what you want, you know. JJ says ticker BBIG was all over YouTube today. You have any input? I have no clue. I've looked at the BBIG chart a few times today. A lot of people ask me about it. I don't know. I could see it going either way, honestly. What else? Oh, one last thing about Clover. Actually, it's a good point. Not doing ticker questions yet, but so just an example of this, right? The backup. We were talking about the backup on Wyckoff earlier, right? So you have your trading range, you bust out of it, and then you have your backup. What could potentially happen after that? Didn't work out perfectly, but it's a decent explanation. Look at this. Blackberry. White coffee in range. I honestly would say Clover's is better, but white coffee in range, it broke out of this range, the CL area here, had its backup, which is potentially where Clover could be at right now. And then what happened after the backup? A rally to a higher high than the first breakout high. That's what we talked about earlier on the stream. But again, for Blackberry, didn't, you know, went higher eventually, but you know, hopefully Clover doesn't just do that and then drop all the way back down into the range. You know, that was one other thing I wanted to bring up earlier. Yeah, keeping that like button. Let's get to 100 likes if possible. Check out the links in the description. So SPRT as well I wanted to talk about. Can't say I didn't talk about it last week. You know, we were talking about the falling wedge, the classic bullish divergence on the 15 and 30 minute, the hidden bullish divergence on the 1 hour, the gap fill. We talked about all 3 of those things last week. And it did go a little bit under that gap fill. It went about $1.50 under, but then eventually it reclaimed and had a very nice move today. It was up 20% and then went up a few more percent. It was actually up 10% at one point after hours, and then it kind of closed up, I think like 2 or 3% or something like that. I can't remember, but first like real green day for SPRT. You know, I mean, this was a gap up day, so not including gaps. I'm just saying from like from the market open to the market close, not including gaps. First green candle on SPRT on the daily since August 26th. and also a higher close than like the last 3 trading days prior to it. But again, perfect. Falling wedge breakout, even back tested it. I mean, my voice did crack a little bit there, but premium members, you know, I shared this with everybody on the stream multiple days last week. So I'm not necessarily saying how you could play it or anything. That's not my job, but I was bringing up the variables for all of you. And today, actually yesterday, I shared an SPRT call option idea. They were weekly calls yesterday. And then, yeah, those calls are up about 90%. Well, at the close, they're up 90% if it gaps up tomorrow because it was up after hours. Hopefully it can, but again, who knows what the pre-market will be like. Calls are already up 90%, so that's one cool trade of the week in premium. Links in the description for that. But a lot of the times, again, whenever I'm just bringing up a random ticker on the stream, don't always think that it's a premium trade. Sometimes I just do that, but I sometimes like to just throw hints at everybody. SPRT, I was talking about it for multiple days on the stream before I even shared it with premium because I was waiting for some more confirmation, which I got yesterday. And then even like on AMC, right? Remember how I would bring up AMC like every single day for like a couple weeks back in August? That was also a premium trade at the time. And yeah, it was a 41% trade for premium members. But was I not talking about AMC on stream when it was breaking out of this descending wedge and it back tested it with hidden bullish divergence on the daily? I think I was. I think you could go back and find it. So just always be paying attention. Again, just because I'm bringing up a ticker doesn't mean it's in premium, but I'm just saying sometimes I like to just share ideas out there if when I'm on the stream. But yeah, nice move on SPRT today. We'll go over the rest of the we'll go over the swings now. Not good. The market was red. It was probably the worst day for the swings in a few weeks now. The swings have been really, really good for the past few weeks, but today was definitely a kind of whoa, what's going on type of day. First off, the BLNK trade, it's down 4% since pretty much all of them kind of got hit, but the BLNK trade, it's down 4%. This is the most recent one. It's down 4% since the entry. Failed to break out, broke under the 32 support as well. At this point, you just want it to hold above that green demand line. And that's about it. NEO also down 5% again. Just a gap down today. I think there was some sort of news that came out after hours yesterday. This could also be potentially looked at as a back test of the falling wedge. So hopefully it could actually bounce off. If a green day on NEO tomorrow would be really cool to see. There's even an upside gap to fill now, but it's back under 39.50, which was the resistance it was breaking out of. But then you have a red day in the market, and the news that came out for NEO after hours yesterday, I think it was some sort of like was it an offering? I can't even remember. Something. BlackBerry as well. Still around the entry of the trade. I mean, this trade's never really taken off. It's been a long time. At one point it was up 12-13%. Now it's back around the entry area. It's just trying to hang on to 200-day moving average. I've been saying this every single night, but that $9.60 level is still the most important level I see historically, and still above that, so hopefully you can just hold that. The X trade, another trade that got pretty close to the first target. It was only it only had to go 4% higher and it would have been a 26% trade. But again, it's a 3-year cup and handle. Maybe it also is back testing the breakout of the handle. There is a chance for hidden bullish divergence on the daily if the MACD starts waning. Just want to see it hold above 25, hopefully. Doc, I mean, this taker doesn't move at all, but somehow it was up. It was the top gainer. It was only up 1% today. So yeah, it wasn't a great day for the swings at all. But we just had like, I don't know, 15, 20 great days in a row. So not in a row, but most of them were great days. So one out of the blue. And again, this could happen again tomorrow and the day after. So you've got to be prepared for anything, but it happens, right? It happens. Even just looking at the weekly sheet right now. Let's see if I can pull this up. So the sheet did not look like this yesterday. Now keep in mind, these are only down a few percent for the most part, for most of them, apart from like the final 3. So keep in mind, it's not like anything got like wrecked today. It was just a lot of them just kind of, pulled back a few percent with the market, just kind of moving with the market. So yeah, not the best. This sheet was pretty much mostly green yesterday. I could probably pull it up. But again, this is why I always spend time going over the market on the stream. And I know the market's not been super clear. Today definitely was interesting, but you could see like this was the sheet yesterday. So it was mostly green and then the market pulled back and it kind of flipped around, but still, again, this is risk management, right? That's what I always talk about. It's what a lot of new traders don't understand. It's not about a win rate. Of course, a win rate is, to certain levels important. And I have about, I think, like a 65% win rate on the sheet. It did. July messed up the win rate pretty harshly. I think it was like 80% at one point, so it dropped like 15%. And also, I've been spending a lot more time focusing on day trades, and you know that if you're a premium member. But this happens, but it's all about risk management, right? when times are not good, even if you have a lot of different trades that are not going well, it's about conserving the losses, right? 1%, 2%, 3%. These are not 20, 30, 40%, right? And these are swings. It's not that we're even day trades. And then when good times come around, you can eat. This was literally last week, right? So it's like one day can change everything. So you have to realize that at one point. But on the other hand, like, you just got to kind of know how to conserve capital until the good times come again. Because literally 2 days ago, this was the weekly sheet we were looking at. And then the week before that was also pretty darn good, right? I mean, only 2 of them were losing, or not even losing trades, but in the red, and they were down like 2 or 3%. And then even last week, only 1 trade stopped out. Like, look, you know, like, I think that's like, that's what? 1, 2, 3, 6. So 9 trades have hit targets in the past 3 weeks, and only 1 trade has stopped out, right? So you just got to look at those things, right? You know, even though right now things might be a little bit red, in the last 3 weeks, 9 trades have hit targets, only 1 trade has stopped. Like, that's what I'm always trying to bring up. I'm trying to make you think about these things, because it's really easy to kind of get caught up in the very, very short term. And again, you want to continue to manage risk, but I'm just saying, you know, those are things you always want to kind of be looking at, because if you have a 3-to-1 reward to risk on every single trade, like Mitch Ray says, that's where I kind of learned it from, but also I bring up all the time, technically you can only be winning a third of your trades. If you have a 3-to-1 reward to risk, which means on your winning trades you make 3 times more than you lose on your losing trades, technically you only need to win a third of your trades to be a profitable trader. But imagine you're winning over half of your trades at a minimum, then on the more than half of trades you're winning, you're making a pretty good buck or two, and then on the you know, the other half or lower than half that you're not winning, you're not losing that much. That's risk management. That's 3-to-1, and that's kind of, you know, shout out to Mitch Ray. Definitely learned that kind of risk strategy through watching his streams, and kind of, you know, implemented a few of my own things into there and whatnot. But yeah, that's really the update for everything going on there. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 100 likes right now. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Or maybe you don't. Hit the subscribe button. And so that's really the recap of everything today. You know, we still got 90 people in here, which is awesome. If you're not on the Discord, all the links are always down below. And we do have time to do tick requests tonight, so I'm only gonna do like probably 10 to 15. So I'll just do it, you know, like first 10 to 15 tickers I see in the chat starting right now, I'll look at. So, you know, to whoever was paying attention, congrats. But I'm waiting. I haven't seen the next chat just yet. Whoever the next person is will be pretty much like the first one, like 10 to 15. I don't know the exact number. We'll see. All right, first one I saw was CLVS from after I said that sentence. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, I'm glad. I try my best. I know sometimes the market's red and I have very little energy regardless of the market, but hopefully it's been a good stream tonight. Thank you for all the support. Guess we'll just start looking at these. I don't know. Wait and see if there's anything else in chat. All right, so CLVS is first up. Support is $4.07. It was your resistance in 2019, support in November of last year, and then just your support recently in August. Classic bullish divergence on the daily already kind of played out. It brought you up to that $5 resistance, then you pulled back at it. And you know, now I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure here. Maybe a little bit of a falling wedge. Those are your levels on the chart. That's really all I can do. It's kind of been a little bit choppy. But yeah, 5 resistance, 4 support, pretty straightforward. Yeah, I'll throw a Palantir and EVEG, which will probably be the last one of the night. I'll throw it into my chat as well. EVE or IG. All right, so that'll probably be the final one of the night. SDC is up next. I was looking at SDC going into this week. It was on my watch list. I just didn't like how it kind of was red on. What is happening? Why is this thing moving? What are you doing? Stop. Oh my gosh, what is this thing? We're good. All right. I was looking at SDC coming into this week. I just didn't like how yesterday kind of rejected the supply line of this falling wedge. So it's still on my watch list. You know, hit the PCC of a bullish butterfly. There was classic bullish divergence on the daily, but just kind of hit that supply line of this pretty long-term falling wedge and just pulled back at it. So I'm just waiting for some more short-term confirmation on this one, but I know it has a high short interest. This was the first stock I ever bought a share of in my life. So I know an okay amount about SDC. I haven't really traded in like a year or something, but yeah, I mean, let's see, let me try to be a little bit more precise here. Like 460-ish is like your most important level. It's just your previous swing low. And there still is a gap around like 660, but we'll see. IVR support is around $3. Resistance is 322. You're kind of in between them. You already had divergence on the daily, didn't really do too much. On the 4 hour, you technically have hidden bearish divergence, which means you made a lower high on price, but a higher high on your MACD, which implies continuation of the short term or continuation of your downtrend currently, but it's a pretty small MACD island, so I don't know. I just want to see it hold above 3. It's right under that. It's right above that, but you see that 297 to be more precise was resistance last September, and it was your low on August 20th of this year. ANY. This one's been kind of going parabolic, honestly. Maybe something like this. Again, you know, drawing these on your charts, like it could be extremely subjective, like, you know, how you kind of draw it. I'm just trying to do it for like a visual thing, but pretty much around 550-ish is like the historical resistance that it broke above, and then it almost kind of back tested as well yesterday, and then today kind of bounced back up. So I just want to see it hold above 550-ish. In terms of resistance, I mean, if we zoom out, we got like 865-ish from your highs in November of 2018, and then above that, I mean, just maybe your high from September 2nd. That's really all I could do there for right now. FUTU. Wow, look at that fake out of that support. So guess it had a little bit of a fake out of a breakdown, and now there's classic bullish divergence on the daily playing out. If it can break above the 200-day moving average, I mean, eventually it still has a gap fill to like 158.5. It even has a gap fill over here to 134. So there's 2 upside gap fills over there. Just want to see a whole $100. That's really the support. I mean, but again, it did just have a fake out, so who knows if it happens again. So that's your FUTU Tattooed Chef. If you're a premium member, I shared it on a weekly watch list right over here. Didn't put out like a swing idea or anything, but I shared it in one of the watch lists when it was like literally right here, and had a really nice run after that. It just got down to a historical support area, bounced at it. You know, now it's just back testing 200-day moving average. Had a bullish pin bar candle today. If it can just hold above today's low, I mean, you know, the next resistance it kind of retests is $22 almost from these lows, from these highs, from this low. Like you can see, you know, it was a multiple area. It was at multiple points support or resistance. So that's like kind of your upside resistance, and then you're just kind of in like a tight area, whether you break the 200-day moving average or you break above 22. That's really how I'm looking at it for right now. It's not too much day. It just had a very nice run. ROKU, kind of breaching the regular bat. Actually, no, I would be somewhat. I think I had this looking at like a shark maybe. But I mean, a shark I still think go down to 113. So I don't know. I mean, regardless of any sort of, you know, XABC, I guess it did hit the 1618 from B to D. So even if you take out a harmonic pattern, like still have that. Hit a 1618 golden ratio. Retracement, bounced at it a little bit and then pulled back again today. I think that 323 is your closest support from this low, and this low. If it can't hold it, then you got like 293 after that, and then resistance is around like 370, 200-day moving average. There was even like a couple other resistance points around 371. All right, and then we got AMD. Major supports like 100 is a psychological level and it's your previous resistance. That's really all I kind of see here right now. Kind of was like a failed inverse head and shoulders on the 4 hour. Even a failed falling wedge. So I don't know what this one's been up to, but yeah, that's really, I know it's just kind of boring, you know, when there's not a lot to look at, but it's just, you know, it just had a really nice run as well. Palantir pulled back today with the market, bounced right off the 200-day moving average though. So that just kind of confirms it as a support. So you just want to see it continue to hold above today's low, and then resistance is 2750. So it's kind of similar to that. I think Tattooed Chef looked very, very similar. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, you know, it's just like Tattooed Chef. Supports the 200-day moving average, which was where it bounced today, and then resistance is just that historical level right above you at 2750. So both of them look pretty similar. And then IG 144 is just your previous recent swing low. You have a gap fill around like 215, actually 220-ish. There's just, after the gap down, I don't know why it gapped down, but there's just not a lot of data. I don't see anything, any sort of like a pattern from just this, right? 226 is your upside resistance. That's also around your gap fill. Your support's 144. I don't really see much divergence. Again, a lot of the time when you're looking at charts, you're not going to have, you know, the clearest of variables. Sometimes you just got to wait for more data to appear. All right, I'll do Uber and FUBO, and those will be the final ones. But yeah, where Medi dropped the dashes in the chat will be kind of where we cut off the ticker requests. So Uber, yeah, I got this one charted out. This one I've been watching for a while now. You said, is there an inverse head and shoulders? I look at it as more like a potential double bottom, but again, I don't know what time frame you're looking at. Maybe you're looking at a much higher time frame or something. But it did hit the PCZ of roughly a bullish Gartley and is trying to bottom out at that area with classic bullish divergence on the daily inside of a falling wedge. Like, you know, it's pretty really interesting. It's just, I want to see it get above 41. You know, that was the high from February of last year. And yeah, it's already been showing resistance there now. It's just kind of in a tight area between like 38 and like 42. So I think whichever way it breaks out between those two levels could be important. FUBO, chopping around the 200-day moving average. Supports 27-ish. I mean, that's not the clearest of supports. And then resistance is 31, 38-ish. It's not the clearest of resistances either. It's just kind of in a weird area, honestly. You know, really just between like 24 and like 35 is kind of make or break, you know, from like a midterm perspective. That's, you know, I wish there was more to say. Again, it's just going to be like this sometimes, you know. Sometimes, you know, every single ticker request I look at, there's like crazy things. Like tonight, I could see a lot of these charts going either way. That doesn't mean I'm bearish or bullish on any of the tickers I just looked at. It just means I don't know. You know, I could see them going either way. I didn't really see anything that was like super bullish or super bearish to me. Maybe something does go crazy that I missed out. But again, you know, when you're looking at charts, it's just all probability. It's, you know, just kind of how it goes sometimes, you know. Oh, we did look at SPRT earlier. Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, just like we already kind of just talked about like the recap, because I was talking about SPRT like last week and then also last month at $7. But yeah, just broke out that falling wedge, has 1 hour hidden bullish. I mean, classic, no, hidden bullish divergence. I'm getting tired, as you could tell. Just, yeah, I mean, you could just maybe use Fibonacci. You just use Fibonacci on the wedge. Textbook target of a wedge is a 50% retrace. That's also around the gap fill from August 31st. So around like $30, that's even your psychological level. So I'm not telling you to make that your price target. I'm just saying you have interesting variables at that price. Psychological level, a gap fill, and Fibonacci. But it's just, yeah, I mean, I was talking about this. The falling wedge, the hidden bullish divergence, and then even on the weekly time frame, it was back testing a resistance from the early 2000s. Like, yeah, I mean, wow. And look where it bounced, right on that back test area. I even shared this on Twitter. Like, I did as much as I could to talk about what was happening at SPRT around $20. But yeah, nice 20% move today. Not surprised. Was honestly waiting a few days for hopefully something like today, and we got a nice move. We'll see how much it can do. Actually, I don't know why I just took it off my watch list. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the take request. Thank you all for the support. We need 5 more likes at 100 likes tonight. So if you didn't hit the like button already, go for it. Thank you for it. We already got 1,000 views on the stream as well, so I appreciate that. Thank you for the tips as well. I mean, the support's just been crazy. I wish I had more energy tonight. And tomorrow, I'm going to have to get through it. I have 12 hours. I'm not even going to be home, just, you know, between everything. And then I got to get home, and then I got to stream. And in between all that, trade. So hopefully I'll have energy on tomorrow night's stream, which is why I kind of want to sleep early tonight and just maybe have a little bit of a shorter stream so I get some sleep. But yeah, what's up, Resistance, in the chat? Hope you're doing well, man. What's up, Chef Daddy Trader as well? Hope you're doing well. Soda Popinski saying go CLOV. Hope it goes well for you, for me, for everybody. And future is actually bouncing up a little bit, which is good. We'll see how they look like in the morning. Again, you know, I said this earlier in the stream. Thank you for the 100 likes, by the way. Don't get, and again, it's not financial advice, but personally, I don't like to get too caught up in like the very, very short term, day to day. Of course, it's your job as a trader to focus day by day on how you're improving your skills and how your trades are going. But in terms of psychology and the overall picture, like one day is like literally nothing in your overall journey or story as a trader, right? You know, and however many years when you decide to stop trading, you know, if you ever decide to stop trading, I don't know if I'm ever going to decide to do that, but you know, whenever you kind of just look back at everything, like one day, whether really horrible or really, really good, it's just one day. The market's open, you know, every single week of the year, every single year. It's not closing unless like a meteor hits the earth or something. So as long as a meteor doesn't hit the earth, I guess, you know, you have unlimited opportunities in the market to make money. So I know it's a red day for a lot of people. They're going to come, they're going to go. Just got to, you know, focus on making higher lows in your account, just pushing through them. And that's just how it is, right? Like yesterday, I had one of my best days in a long time. Today, I didn't have a great day, but I'm more focused on the overall picture, right? So yeah, just want to end the stream on that note. Hope everybody's gonna crush it tomorrow and on Friday in the market. But I will be live again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. EST, hopefully. And yeah, all right. Join the Discord. Links in the description. If you want to join Premium, that's the first link in the description. Another new all-time high on that today. Like, I love waking up in the morning and just checking that, and it's like, wow, another new all-time high. It's crazy. It's like literally life-changing. So thank you so much for all the support there. Links are in the description. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. I'm gonna call it here. All right, let me see if I could play some good tunes on the way out. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy the stream. And let's see, what should we listen to? Is this a good one? Yeah, we'll go with that one. All right, have a great night. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow night, and peace out.
wanna live my life. I don't wanna burn the whole world down. I just wanna have some fun. I just wanna live today. Don't want to leave here and fade away. Everyone just pays their bills, and I'm getting looks. I can't sit still. I don't wanna set this all on fire. I just